Hello, welcome to week 3. We're essentially almost, this is the halfway point in the class. Anyways, welcome to week 3. And before we get started, I just want to have a couple of minutes to talk about the assignment that you guys have been given, right? So the way that this assignment works is you and your 2 other classmates that are in your team are part of the executive leadership group, the direct reports that directly reports to the CEO, the president, and the founder and owner of your company. In this case, all of you will be the company that you are and your group are working for is a business that makes faucets, showers, and bath hardware, plumbing hardware in the United States. This fictitious company, right, is owned by an elderly gentleman in his 80s, okay, who started this company 50 years ago because he had this weird dream about doing this and being successful, right? And in the 50 years since then, he has continually had these weird dreams, okay? And in these dreams, sometimes animals or angels or whatever suggest to him to do various things. Over the years, some of these ideas have turned out very well indeed. And you are now a very large company here. You're the 3rd largest manufacturer in the United States of this type of stuff. And some of these ideas, quite frankly, were not so good, right? Not so much as a great idea. And so when he has these ideas, he doesn't say go, he doesn't tell his people, go and do it, right? But he says to his management team, go look into it and see if there might be something there, right? And that's the situation that you're currently in. Last week, you had a staff meeting of the 15 or 20 direct reports to the president, right? And in that, he told you of this latest dream. And this latest dream is that that this company was going to enter a foreign market. And specifically, the country that he was dreaming in was blank. For some of you, it's Albania. For some of you, it's Philippines. For some of you, it's Turkey. And I can't remember what the 4th one is. But anyways, so your task was given to you and said, okay, we'll talk about this as the large management team next month. But can I get 3 of you guys together to do a little subcommittee and do some legwork and go find out what we would need to know about this country in order to have an intelligent discussion? And what we will do is next month at the next staff meeting, you guys are going to have between 20 to 25 minutes to tell us everything that we probably need to know about this country before we make a determination. So I'm going to take 3 of you, that's your team, right? And your task is to do a presentation next month for the rest of us, okay? And then after that, we will talk about whether this is a good use of our resources or not, and so on and so forth. But at least we will know more about the country that we're talking about. right? So that's your task. Now, in a real life situation, you would have been given 20 minutes to do this presentation live in front of the staff in the staff meeting, right? Um, we live in a world of COVID right now, and this class is also not ideal for that. In a regular environment, I probably would have you guys do a presentation in front of a class. But we only have 5 weeks. There's 50 plus in this class. So that's not going to work, right? So what I want you guys to do is to hand in the PowerPoint, a PowerPoint presentation that is annotated with your voices. So essentially, you are handing to me, okay, a PowerPoint that when I hit show slideshow, starts from the beginning, has you talk through the slides until the very end, right? So the audio, your presentation is on the slides. The slides move, you know, when they're supposed to, when you would normally hit the next slide button, right, in your presentation. So you're giving me an audio PowerPoint that has audio on it, okay? So I can hear your presentations, okay? So in order to make sure that you guys know how to do this and feel comfortable doing it, okay, I've given you a technical homework assignment, which is a very short set of PowerPoint slides about teaching, you know, a kindergartner basic subtraction. Start with 3 apples, you subtract 1 off 1, and so on and so forth. And your task is to take that PowerPoint slide deck, right, and add the audio to it so that, you know, a child who also, because of COVID-19, may not be watching this live in a classroom, but clicking on a button on their computer has this slideshow presented to them, right, with the audio on it. The content obviously has nothing to do with the class, but what I want to do, the reason that I am asking you guys to do this is I don't want the last minute panicking happening 2 days before or 3 days before the end of the semester about, you know, we couldn't get the PowerPoint to do things. We couldn't get it to work, technically getting it to work, right? That's why you get doing the homework assignment, the technical homework assignment, so that we know that those bugs have been worked out. And so that you can concentrate from now toward the end with your team members to actually create the content and not have to worry about the world falling apart because of technical glitches, right? Okay. Now, you've been assigned essentially randomly team members. And the reason I did them randomly rather than let you guys pick your own is one of the most useful things that you will get out of this class, out of being in the university as a whole, is you will leave here hopefully with a set of friends and a set of contacts that with Facebook and LinkedIn and things, you guys can help each other out over a long period of time. The larger your network is, the better. So you're welcome. I forced you to learn, potentially meet a couple new people that you probably wouldn't have picked out on your own. Yeah, that's random, right? Anyways, so if, however, some of you decide that, you know what, in a short period of class like this, working as a group is much too difficult to coordinate than working individually. I'd rather do this on my own. Well, if your group wants to split up and have everybody do it as an individual assignment, that's fine. Okay. If one person wants to leave the group and do it as an individual assignment, and the other two want to continue on to work as a group, that's good too. Just by the end of this week, if you are not working as a group of 3 people, please let me know so I know what's going on. Okay. And no, you cannot leave your group to join another group. Okay. Either you split up and do things individually, or you work in the group that I assigned to you. All right. So that's it in terms of the projects. The big project I believe I have is due on the 28th, I think. Maybe it was the 29th. It's on the assignment. Okay. And the technical thing I think is due on Tuesday. All right. Just get it done. Make sure you know how to play with PowerPoint and get the audio hooked up. You know, either on individual slides or on one big audio tape that goes over slides, and then get the timing right for when the slides automatically go from one slide to the next. All right, that's the technical assignment. And that is technically due on Wednesday of this week. And the other one is due a few days before the end of the semester. All right. Okay, let's talk a little bit about what we're going to be doing this week. This week we are covering, you guys did chapter 9 on Friday, hopefully. We're going to start chapter 10, and then we're going to go back to 3, 4, 5, kind of those chapters. Where we're going now is the reason that I'm skipping around, I think I had mentioned once earlier, is the chapters, the first 2 chapters were kind of introductions, and then I wanted to talk about culture, the international culture part, which I find to be honestly one of the most fascinating parts of this course, right? The second half of the title of our class is business. So now we are talking more about going back to the nitty-gritty business functions that need to be created. And you'll probably hear this more often than you'd like from me. Doing business, doing international business is just like doing domestic business. Just everything is a little bit more complicated and has more wrinkles to it, right? So the stuff that we're talking about in international business, to one degree or another, you would have to do if you were doing domestic businesses as well, right? So let's start first with how do you make a decision to go internationally to begin with? Now, it could have been a decision similar to the one that is in your assignment, that your CEO had a dream that we're going to go and do this, right? But the way that for most small businesses that you end up getting into international business is oftentimes by accident or very passive, okay? Let's assume that you have a small business that makes hot sauces. And you have been selling them here. You got some contracts with HEB and a distributor that has chains like IGA and things like that. And you have created a business here in the US. Now, all of a sudden, you get an email, and you get an email from someone who had visited you from Mexico City, And the email says, I really enjoyed when I was in Texas having your hot sauce. I can't find it here in any of the Mexican stores. Can you sell me some? And, I will arrange payment for you. You didn't go out necessarily seeking, okay, business elsewhere, from the rest of the world. But somehow somebody in the rest of the world contacted you and said, by the way, I happen to know your hot sauce is really good, and I'd like to buy some for you. Can you ship them to me down in Mexico City? And your answer may very well be, I'm not exactly sure how to do that, but I could go down to the UPS store and figure out how to ship it to you. So yeah, I'd be happy to put some in the mail for you if you can figure out how to pay me, right? Oh, you know, for people here in the US, we take Visa and MasterCard. So I guess if you've got a Visa and MasterCard, we can do it that way, right? Or PayPal or something like that. But yeah, well, we can do this. I'd be more than happy to ship you, um, a few bottles of my hot sauce. Great. 3, 4 weeks later, you start getting emails from friends and family of theirs and saying, oh, I just had your wonderful hot sauce over at Blank's house. We'd love to buy some from you too. Could you ship us some? Right. And all of a sudden you've got 20 customers who relatively regularly call you or send you an email saying, can you send me some hot sauce? All passive. You didn't necessarily go out and solicit that business, right? But after you start getting 20, you start saying, you know what? Mexicans seem to love my stuff. Maybe I should try to actively sell in Mexico, right? At that point, the switch goes off. You want to go from passive to active. I am actively going to try to do business internationally, right? Now, much of these chapters you're going to be reading is going to be talking about the various strategies you can go about doing things when you make an active determination to do that. Okay? And there are a variety of different ways that you can do it. You may have an uncle, okay, that lives in Mexico, who you can call and say, hey, you want to get in business with me and help me import or me export, you import my hot sauces into Mexico? Okay. I'd bring you on as an employee, or I could go find a consulting company. Okay. And we talk about different consulting companies in these chapters that do things like this, right? Okay. You may make a determination that says, you know what, I'm going to start my own sauce company in Mexico, or I'm going to buy a Mexican sauce company and I am going to convert it and add my spices to it. If you decide to do that, you've decided you are going to make a direct investment in a Mexican company. You're going to create a Mexican company, or you're going to make an investment in a Mexican company. And that's how you're going to enter Mexico. You may decide to partner with another company, somebody who makes other sauces in Mexico, and say, hey, look, can we create a licensing agreement where you make my product, I'll give you the recipes, I'll give you the brand and the logo and the permission to use my name, right? And my recipes, and you make it and you pay me a commission for what you sell. one of the big beers in Bavaria in Germany is Lowenbrau. And 25 years ago, roughly, Lowenbrau entered the United States' market for selling beer. Okay. And you'd be able to go to the local convenience store and buy a Lowenbrau beer. It turned out the Lowenbrau beer that you were buying in the US was actually manufactured in the US by this company called Anheuser-Busch, who bought the licensing agreement to brew Lowenbrau beer here in the United States and sell it to Americans using the Lowenbrau recipe, methodologies, brands, and so on and so forth. There's different ways that you can enter a market, and that's what we're going to be covering this in the beginning parts of this period. Right. Toward the end, we are going to talk about things like foreign exchanges, currency, right? Where are, here in the US, we buy and sell things with US dollars. When we go to Jamaica, it's Jamaican dollars, right? Mexico, it's pesos. Potentially, if you're going to El Salvador, okay, the legal tenants, the legal currencies, legal tender is actually US dollars. They have something they call dollarization. They don't have their own money. They accept US dollars. And starting last week, Bitcoin. Okay. Things are a little bit more complicated, but when you go internationally, we will start talking about foreign exchanges, how all that stuff works. That's kind of one of the chapters toward the end of the week. With that, I'm going to let you guys go. And if you guys got any questions, just continue to email me. I will answer them as quickly as I can. And I'll talk with you again shortly.